bit stiff and sore, isn't he?
And is Mia here?
Don't know where she is.
Can't hold. Put on. Okay. Paul.
We've been shearing sheep, we've been mustering stock, we've been culling out roofs, we've been spraying the crop, been drove cattle up an old stock road. Saturday night, and we're all in the ute. We're the boys from the bush and we're back in town. We get high when the sun goes down. Well, I have members from the Outback Club, with the boys from the bush. We work in the heat, we've been loading trucks, we've been fixing fences, we've been choking on dust. We curse the rain, we curse the drought. It's Saturday night, and we're all in the shout. We're the boys from the bush and we're back in town. We get high when the sun goes down. We're life members of the... We're the boys from the bush and we're back in town. We get high when the sun goes down. We get members of the Outback Club. We're the boys from the bush coming in from the scrub.
I'm giving more guitar. And put mine on in Victoria. And they had a little single axle semi and they'd load up all their horses and friends, and they'd make what was called a rope ring rodeo, which was a rope ring with big logs kind of in to make the ring, and then around they'd put a Hessian wall and charge people $1 to get in to go and see it. And at the end of the show, the highlight was they had a buck jumper, and they bet any local, the best local rough rider, if they could ride, they'd give them £10. But they were a bit cunning. Hopes he'll be able to find, he had you say, and put it over there. And he hopes that he'll be able to find him, but being a drover, he's a bit elusive to catch hold of. And Amy is going to recite it for us.
Clancy of the Overflow, which I had, for want of better knowledge, sent to where I met him down the Lachlan years ago. He was shearing when I knew him, so I sent the letter to him, just dipped in tar. 'Twas his shearing mate who wrote it, and verbatim I will quote it. Clancy's gone to Queensland drovin', and we don't know where he are. In my wild, erratic fancy, visions came to me of Clancy, gone a drovin' down the Cooper, where the western drovers go. As the stock are slowly stringin', Clancy rides behind them singin', for the drover's life has pleasures that the townsfolk never know. And the bush has friends to meet him, and their kindly voices greet him in the murmur of the breezes and the river on its bars. And he sees the vision splendid of the sunlit plains extended, and at night the wondrous glory of the everlasting stars. I'm sitting in my dingy little office, where a stingy ray of sunlight struggles feebly down the houses tall, and the fetid air and gritty of the dusty, dirty city, through the open window floating, spreads its foulness over all. And in place of lowing cattle, I can hear the fiendish rattle of the tramways and the buses making hurry down the street, and the language uninviting of the gutter children fighting comes fitfully and faintly through the ceaseless tramp of feet. And the hurrying people daunt me, and their pallid faces haunt me as they shoulder one another in their rush and nervous haste, with their eager eyes and greedy, and their stunted forms and weedy. For townsfolk have no time to grow. They have no time to waste. And I somehow rather fancy that I'd like to change with Clancy, like to take a turn at droving, where the seasons come and go, while he faced the round eternal of the cash book and the journal. But I doubt he'd suit the office, Clancy of the overflow.
All your food and that from getting wet. So we put this around a pack horse's neck, so because he's just running loose, we always know where he is. And so you can see all that works really, really good. Okay, while Hayde puts them on, I'll show you some of the...
Wayne, did you make those packs?
Yeah.
What else do you make?
Oh, yeah. All of our gear I've made, like our saddles and all that. I'm sorry about the heavy breathing. Okay, chuck those on, Hayde.
At least you're still breathing. It's always close.
And with... Yeah, we're only going to put those on. And then this is things, it's a top pack where we put our clothes and bedding and our tent. And that's our shower. What's going on? Normally when you stop to have a camp or whatever, or a billy, so we do it in one of these things, and it works like a venturi, and you only put little sticks in around the side, and I'll show you what he's looking for. So, hey? Normally he gets a nose bag. You put little sticks in there and that's our billy, and it works like a venturi. So there's all things to carry eggs like that. But do you want to get him a handful of oats? And this is what he's looking for.
He's really looking for it. Every time you move, he goes either side of you.
And yeah, so when we stop, he's a bit of a sook, isn't he? So he's nuzzling into me to say, well, where are they? There you go. All right, you go and get... No, I won't put it on Hayes, it's not worth it. All right, you go and get the other little horse back. Good boy. And when Mia comes back, you can get your oats.
He wants his oats now, Daddy.
Hey,
He wants his oats now.
something like that. These old water bags, it's amazing how nice and fresh and cold they keep the water. Come back up. As Hayden trots around, trot around that way, Hayden. So as he's on the inside of the circle.
Not till he gets his oats.
If you watch, he'll stay on Hayden's shoulder, going off your trot.
Oh, I want the puppies, he said.
Will he trot for you?
He's going to be quick because he's bigger. He's one big.
Well, put him on the outside.
So slow.
Go around the other way. Did you get him? Going off you go. When you're with a pack horse, I know you've probably heard about on the jig jog. Well, what that means is you're just going really quiet with the pack horse. And all your gear and that makes a bit of a rattle, so it's a really lovely sound. As you can see, the pair of them don't really care about it. And what we're going to do is, when we pull his gear off, we're going to give him a nose bag and I'll show you what he does.
You want to tell them what you did to you the other day, so you can explain why you're so slow?
Not really.
Now we really want to know.
All right. Where's Mia with the bag? No, he'll be right. Okay. Now,
It makes a bit of a sound when it jumps around.
yeah. Okay. You tie her up and where is she? Well,
Wayne, you might need these too, after your escapade the other day.
some oats.
Yeah.
So, the old guy that I learnt my horse skills with, he told me, he said, you put petrol in your car and you put diesel in your tractor and in your, here, lift up, and diesel in your tractor and truck. Oh geez, I've got a real tight one. He's got a big head, don't he? Oh, yeah, put it. All right, can you put his gear off him? Oh, he doesn't care because there's oats in there. You see how they work it? He's not taught to do that. Yeah, you just pull all the gear off. They put the bag down on the ground so as they can eat the oats. It's a good trick, isn't it? And that's probably the nose bag for the other little horse. We'll just do a bit more and we'll hear another song from I'm starting to breathe a bit. We teach our horses to ground tie, and that means when you throw the reins onto the ground, they stay there. And then, so you teach them not with reins, but with one of these headstools. And the idea is, say, with hayband, racing stables, they'll have bits of hayband everywhere where they tie up horses. But the horses learn real quick. You just pull your head back and they break, and you can bolt off. So it's a really dumb thing. Like my old mate that I worked with, you know, like when I was in my 20s, he wouldn't let you have a bit of hay band anywhere other than on a bale of hay. It's really dangerous. And you never lead a horse with a bit of hay band because it'll just cut through your hand. And they learn, they know. They really do. All right, how are we going now? Yeah, I'll do that in a minute. All right, it's Paul's turn to sing a song. Has moved down to the island with his lovely wife Coral, and he's a genius with drums. So he's lived his life all over the world playing drums for really top names, and now we're lucky we've got him down here. So if you want to talk music, Winnie knows everything. He even thinks he's a cowboy now. All right, go Paul.
Way out west where the rain don't fall, and a dog with a cover and uniform seems to make a change. I'm working on my land. Quit my job and I left my wife, headed out west for a plan.
Is Mia has gone to get her dog, and she's bringing the sheep around for you. And say sheep are the worst thing in the world to try and demonstrate. And when it's mixed up with Mia and the sheep, you can't see where the sheep are gone.
They're over here.
Mia.
Over here.
Oh, Mia's just, they were there, now they're in the back, they're coming. All right, so I'll have to bull dust for a sec. When I was really tiny, say about 6 or 7, my family was mixed up in racing in Melbourne, and my dad's best mate was Tommy Woodcock of Farlap and Reckless fame. I don't know if anyone here, you would have heard of Farlap maybe, not Reckless. Reckless was later on, when I was around, I was the strapper and shit picker upper. And my dad, he used to do all the, organise all the races, so it was, you know, the campaigns of the horses. And my mum did the books, and it was a pretty hectic time because we had some really good horses. He was always about 9th or 10th on what we call the hit parade, which is the jockey's premiership. So he was always in the top 10, which, you know, in racing, that's pretty flash. My grandfather was fairly wealthy, so he financed it all. He was the biggest Australian private livestock and station agent at the time. If I get caught short, I'll tell you the rest of the stuff in a minute. But from then, when I was a little guy, I used to have to stay behind with Emma Jane, his wife, and she was only about this high, and that's about as high as I was. So we were on an even keel. We were really good mates. With sheep, you can't work them with a mic. Well, we didn't know what really happened. As soon as they had all gone, she had this kind of a routine where she'd wait 5 minutes and she'd look out, you know, the old louver windows. She'd look out the old louver windows and she'd wait 5 minutes because that's how long she reckons the most that they'd be if they'd, you know, lost something. And as soon as that happened, she had a gramophone player like the one inside, and she'd open it up and there'd be a flagon of whiskey and a flagon of brandy in it, and she had a pot glass and she'd fill it up and then she'd kind of drink about half the first glass, and that'd, she'd be silly as a wheel. And because the trainer, my old mate Tommy, he didn't drink, the owners used to send, can you remember what was called Black Cat, Old Gold, and all those lovely old chocolates? Just beautiful. And she'd come out and she'd say, oh yeah, have some, and I'd pick a real nice one, and Scott she'd say, no, you got to have a gobful of them for them to be any good. So I'd be stuffing myself with those. And then she'd be teaching me the Charleston. She had all these old 78s which had Dance of the Bobcat and all stuff like that on them. And so she'd really have loosened up by this stage. And then she'd tie her hair all up in one of those silk things, because she had beautiful long silver hair, and she'd grab a big bag, and in the bag was a couple of wads you'd choke a horse with. So we go off, and they lived on the corner of Nepean Highway and Warrigal Road. So we go over, first stop was the grocery shop, licensed grocer. We go in there and pay a week's bill, and she'd say when the races were on midweek, she'd say that's when they've got to be delivered. And so that was all right. Then we go into the shop. Yeah, just lead him around, hey, that'd be great. And then we go into the shop beside it, which was old-fashioned milk bar, and she'd fill me up with, can you remember 7X? You know, they used to have this lime, I used to call it swamp juice, lemonade, and she'd get them to put heaps of ice cream in it and make it into a spider, and so I'd have one of them. And then we go next door was the Mentone Bowl, And so we go into the mint-tone bowl. She would have had a few sucks on a little flask in this great big bag. And we go in there, and all the people in there, they bow down to her like the Queen. So as soon as we went up to where I had my own shoes, they kept aside, and my own ball, everything. And she'd always give everyone 10 bob. Then she'd go over somewhere else, and so I'd get all the gear to go bowling. And then they had a big slot car track, so she gives the guy who ran that another 10 bob. And I'd go berserk there for about half an hour, and then we go over to the bowling. And if I got one that didn't go down the lane, you know, the slot, they used to have these round big couches, and she was only about this big. She'd jump up and down on the couch, yelling and shouting, and you know, as if to say, you know, we just won a race. So she was really lovely. And then what would happen is she'd know when the horse's race was and what time they'd be home. And what she'd do is she would be home within about half an hour, because she had to put on tea and all that for everyone. I don't know how she did it because she was so drunk. And I'd be back on the front, you know, the hat stand, sitting there feeling crook as a dog. So my face would be real long and drawn, full of bloody lemonade and ice cream and chocolates. And all the people would start coming in again, and you could see them looking at me, and she'd be yelling and shouting at everyone. And and you could see him say, "Oh, you poor prick." Fancy doing that all day to someone. But we were the greatest of mates. But then that all finished as soon as I got to about, say, 12 and could hold a horse. Say I had to go to the races and be a strapper and do all the work around the stables and all that. And then, say, later on, say, I wasn't allowed to go straight into racing. They said I had to do an apprenticeship in a proper trade, not racing. So my dad got me a job in a shoe factory designing shoes, and that's where I got all my leather skills from, you know, making all this kind of gear and that. But say, our best horse that we had while I was foreman was a horse called Reckless, and he was a 6-year-old stallion, and my old mate, half an hour before the Melbourne Cups, he would be giving old ladies and little kids pony rides out in the bird cages. He was that quiet. He was just, and in the morning he would ride him just with a headstall backwards and forwards to the track. You know, there's probably 300 or 400 horses being worked, and my old mate would be come backwards and forwards, tell me what he wanted the track riders and jockeys, what work they wanted to do, and then he'd go out and watch them and come back and kind of go on. He'd never say that was good or anything else. It was always, you know, into the next one, and we're always really busy. And if you come over sideways, Hayde, this little jockey saddle that's on, just so as people can see it from the side, is what, say, my old mate won. See, we come 4th in the Melbourne Cup, then we won the Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide Cup, and we come 2nd in the Melbourne Cup. And this little saddle was the trainer's trophy for winning the Brisbane Cup. So that's what its significance is, which is really, really lovely. All right, so we have another song. I think you had enough and we might run out of time.
Relax. There's cups of teas and stuff too.
All right,
Wayne, would you like me to...
drink of water.
Would you like a water?
Yeah. So you spend your whole time, say, dressing horses, and when they dress a horse, or a strapper is what I was. A strapper is called a strapper, not because they have leads made out of leather and that. Strapping refers to, like when you have a footballer or a boxer, you get the muscles, you put liniment on them, and you slap at them and brush them, slap at them and brush. And so what you do is you have a towel in one hand and you go like that and brush down, and then you brush. He's got his winter coat, so it's not really flash. But so a strapper is someone, because they're actually got to bring the muscles up, make them see how his muscles are real floppy, you know, because he's relaxed too. But a strapper has to make the muscles really tight, and I don't think they do today. When I go to local races and that, say they're as hairy as what he is, which is not real flash, I don't reckon. But in his case, if I was to clip him, I might have to rug him, and he'd get cold and all that all the time. So after that, I decided that I wanted to be a farmer, and I'd had all the luck in racing. So racing, you only ever really get one good horse. So I'd had that, and
Chosen lady too.
oh yeah, we had some good horses, but not unless you win the Melbourne Cup. They're not really a horse. People kid themselves, but that's the real race. And my old mate only trained his horses. If he thought they weren't good enough to win a Melbourne Cup, say the owners, what he used to do is tell the vet to write out a ticket for the owner to say the horse hasn't got a heart, because they used to do heart tests, and that was his way of getting rid of the horses with that, because you never tell an owner that their horse is no good. You know, they take great offence. So I left the stables, and so my old mate was real cranky with us. He said that it should be him going to the farm and me training the horses. And I thought, no, I'm slipping out really quick. And I thought, if you come, I'll be training horses as well. So what happened, after about, say, a year and a half, he got really, really crook. He had a big storm, and he got pneumonia shoveling out all the wet straw of the stables. And then he had to go into hospital. And when he was in hospital, they found that he had a cancer in his groin, and his lungs were, from dressing horses, you know, all the fine dust, he had what we call miner's fatigue, which is a disease of the lungs. And so my mum and dad, they were kind of looking after him in Melbourne, and he was in hospital. So just 1 minute. Excuse me. So I went down with my partner, and he said, Wayne, I don't want to die here. I said, boy, what's going on? And he said, can I come home with you? Which, you know, like, at the time, I thought, I'm going to be training racehorses again. But it was really sad. But say I nursed him for nearly 2 years. You know, I used to piggyback him around the farm, and whatever I did, so I played a lot of sport then, you know, basketball and footy. I'd always take him with us, and all my mates in the team, they all, say everyone knew who he was, but they all respected it. And if anyone started hanging around and annoying him and, you know, like being a pest, say, they'd just tell him to move on, you know, like. But yeah, he really enjoyed being on the farm, and say that was probably when he was in racing, you hear a lot of stories about Farlap that someone says that he told them, and which is a lot of bull dust, because I was with him all the time. He never told anyone anything. It wasn't until he finished training and he started to tell me all the things about Farlap that, And he used to say to me, Wayne, because he'd tell me some things, you know, a couple of times, and I'd say, yeah, you've told me that, and which is pretty rude of me. And he'd say, yeah, but I want you to get the story straight so as people will know the truth. So that, you know, I don't ever say no to going to public things to give talks and all that. So, and as far as Farlap goes, that's really another huge story. So Farlap's one of the greatest story legends that we've got. So it was just like it was coincidental that Farlap and Donald Bradman went over to America on the same boat, because that's when the Bodyline tour was on. Farlap, when he went to America, Al Capone was Farlap's minder, so no one had interfered with him. When he was in America, he smashed his foot in his one and only race there, so there was no way he was going to race again, so he wasn't a threat to the people racing in America. As soon as he was healed, he was going to go to Europe and go on the Grand Prix circuit, where the races are 3.5 mile. And my mate used to say, after being there for a season, and he would have just been incredible, he said that would have made him the greatest horse in the world, and him one of the top trainers. So but we'll get on with our little show. Say all that is really nice, but say what we'll do now is, hey, you pull that saddle off, and we'll show you what a heavy horse is. We'll show you. Oh wait a minute, Hayden, if you put on a saddle, and we'll get a heifer. I'll keep talking while Hayden puts on his saddle, and is Mia gone? Oh, Mia knows what's going on.
I'm not that fit anymore, mate.
All right. On the farm, we used to have cattle to work. So here we haven't got cattle. We'd have an imaginary cow or heifer.
He does call me that sometimes.
So
I've got that bag in my pocket full of rubbish.
so and whereabouts you guys got to go after here?
They're going for lunch, but they're very relaxed.
Well, at Lakes Entrance, there's a million places to go. For
No,
lunch.
they're going to Painesville, I think. Painesville. Where are you
Which
having
shop?
lunch? Oh, okay.
Oh, you're not going to Lakes Entrance?
No, they've been there.
Oh, so you're going for lunch where?
Painesville.
At where?
Painesville.
Oh,
Probably
cow lunch.
Painesville.
That'll be
Yeah.
lovely. I'll say a little bit about Hayden now while he gets his hair on. Our show, our Stockyard show, is 100% about family. So Hayden and his sister was about 10, he was about 12 when we did our first one.
I'm just telling him to be gentle with me. Remember, I'm old.
And so Hayden now is a horse breaker up at Yarrawonga. He drove all the way down here to help me put on this show for you, which is really lovely. So Hayden's a horse breaker. He competes at team penning and camp draft every weekend, which
I
are
don't know what camp draft is, mate. Some don't.
some would. And it's a cattle sport where you have to cut a cow out. It originated in the early days when there was no fences and everyone boxed all their cattle up in big areas. One of the last places was the high plains at Pretty Valley, and they take say 1,000 head of cattle up there, and the cattle from all different places. And then on the long weekend before Easter, all the farmers would go up there and they'd muster the whole area, all different farmers would do different areas, bring them into one mob. They'd be boxed up on Pretty Valley, and then the best rider from that family or worker would go into the cattle and cut out all that family's animals, and and then they'd have to be able to drive them back to where their mob was, you know, where the people were holding the mob for the ones to take home. So we haven't got a cow, but we've got a nice heifer. And
No, Chopper, thanks very much.
all right, I better get out of the road. You don't have to run real quick, man. So what Hayden and Muddy isn't a stock horse, but he knows what to do. So if Mia runs across here,
I've got new teeth, you know, you could lose them at any stage.
well, shut your mouth.
Run, Mia. You ready? He's being naughty.
You see how he uses his back legs and turns. He doesn't turn like a motorbike. He did then.
Oh, sorry.
So in America they call it putting, and in
Keep
Australia
her busy.
that's enough.
She's better at it. She's better at it.
Will she do it?
Yeah, I think it's right.
Here, Money, come over here,
He's
you
not made for that.
lazy big brute.
Come on, Fatty. Come on. He's such a pet.
I was going to say, with it, my old mate taught me a thing about being a strapper. You have a look on TV when you see the strappers leading the horses. See my hand and the thumb. They always have hold of the lead like that. If you do that and that horse goes to walk over the top of you, your elbow just bends and you get hurt. The proper way is you hold the lead with your thumb up, right? With your thumb down, not up like I had it then. And what happens is it bends your elbow over, and so when the horse comes, it pushes you out of the road so you don't get hurt. Does that make sense?
You've been a good girl.
Yeah, put some spur on her, hey?
Oh, cut it out. I've already got the horns on. Cut it out.
Some people probably say, why did we wear spurs? Who thinks that's cruel? Right, I'll show you something. There are some spurs that are made that are terribly cruel and they're sharp, but say a real horseman won't get onto a horse without spurs. What's that? Oh.
Volunteered.
I was going to let.
I wasn't volunteered.
When you use spurs, you don't kick them into the horse like that. You rake them. You move. Where's Hayden? You see how Hayden moves his leg up and down? Now, if you get the spur and run it up and down there like that, just feel it. People, it's really hard to explain. So, and the horse is very, very sensitive. Yeah, this lady up here was worried about being cruel. Can you throw it over there? Hey?
Why is that fruit so heavy?
Oh, because there's so much leather in them.
Oh.
We have lots of people that, so before they say, why do you wear spurs, I generally, so you rake your spur, you don't, you know, if you kick them, you're a rabbit. No, I don't think so.
What, you were snivelling?
No, I haven't got a bed nose. I've got to put my boot on though. I was in such a hurry I didn't even put my socks on. Alright. We'll have it. Oh, we'll have it.
Maybe a bit more music.
Yeah. We'll have another song and then we'll get in. Maybe we might just show you a couple of things with the horses. Hey? What we're supposed to be doing next are out of order. Hey? We did forget this, but it doesn't matter. Naturally, muddy is already broken in, but when we break in horses, we do everything on the ground. Come here, on the ground. Come on. And that way, when we get onto them, they sort, you know, lie on their backs. They know what's going on. So, oh, that was handy. Mia, there's a couple of whips in, you know, that bag of whips in there. No. We'll just do a little bit of, seeing you've got some time. Alright, so,
Is that part of the show?
no, they're inside.
Oh, are they?
Alright, so we have to teach the horse. Oh, Mia, we got him. Alright, well.
I think I'll just stay in one spot.
Alright, so we have to teach our horse to do everything on the ground. And if you watch his feet, I put this one back. Come. Yeah. So you see how he followed my legs? Now to come forward, do the same. Oh, smart Ellie, come on. Hey. Follow. Good boy. And before we ride them, come on. So we push him out, we go underarm, get out. Now, make him go around. Once he does what he wants, put our hand in our belly. And when I stop, he'll stop without going yank, yank. The loveliest place to brush or to put your hand on a horse is over their eye. If you do that, you can nearly get them to go to sleep. And there's a nerve under here. You can rub it and they really love it. So
He has to go to the dentist next week. The horse, I mean.
so we get him to teach him so he's rideable. We get him so he can flex his head right round. Very good. Get him so he'll flex his head. Come on. Come on.
He's making it hard for you today.
Oh, he's being a smart aleck. Come on. And
Put apes in your back pocket and you'll see what happens.
and he's anticipating. Lift your head up, and you can ask him to put his head down. Come on. You just rub the vertebrae here. Come on, put it down.
He's not listening.
Yeah, I know what he wants. So Kel bought some carrots. And where are they?
Crush him, he does terrible, embarrassing things.
How many
He
do you
drops
want?
things
Just a
down.
couple.
Very
Hey?
embarrassing.
Oh, you got some. Will you come up here?
Carl? Yeah, one.
Yeah, you come down here. On the ground, so as everyone can see. No, in your mouth.
Oh.
Make a kissing noise. Put your hands and your carrots away. Come on, put them away. Hey, you got to put it in your mouth. Come on.
Very brave.
He's a bit spoiled.
I'll give you lots
So
of kisses
generally,
now.
when we go
You're
and
gonna
do
get kissed all over.
shows, and there's all, we call them fence bunnies, sitting on the fence, and put your hands behind your back. And we always say to them, has anyone not had a kiss today? They all go, yeah, 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 yeah. And so we get them to kiss the horse. All right, that's what he's been after all the time. So, that was lovely. Yeah, come here, come on.
Look at her, she's
So,
very jealous.
once we get him, then we can flex him both sides.
Jealous.
We've got to get him so as, when we ride him, come forward. I'll get him around this side so you can see. We've got to get him so he'll move that leg. When I put that leg out, come on, see there? And he's supposed to cross it over. He's being lazy. Now put this leg out, come on, out and over.
Did he have his breakfast?
No.
Well, that's why.
So that's the front, and then you bend or flex his head, and this leg has to go underneath.
Yeah.
And he's fairly good at it, isn't he?
No, he's just not doing it for you.
Yeah, that's right. See how they cross their legs?
Yeah.
All right, now, once you've got him so as he can do that, you've got to put the two together. And this is called a side pass. Come on. Come on.
So they have to cross both legs.
All right, that's the two together.
And why do you do that, Wayne?
You need to do that for when you open gates.
That.
Here. Go over.
And why is that? Because you're too lazy to get off the horse, get it back on?
Something like that.
It's a necessity. When you have to open 8 gates on your way out of the farm, it's a real pain.
That's mine, no.
Stay on the horse, you can do it, it's easier. He's looking at everyone to see what they're going to give him. Look, he's
What I'm going to do
so
is
spoiled.
turn him around. He's looking for oats. So we have to desensitise him to everything.
Oh, dog's gone.
As you can see, he's not worried about it, is he? And no, stand.
Just watch
All right, when you lift up his tail, his bottom is way up there, so, but this area in between here is between his legs. You come over here.
Got a city girl there.
You put your hand in there, I'll make sure you do. Come right in. Is that the most beautiful thing I've ever felt? Just about. Yeah? It is soft and smooth and lovely. But it's not their bottom or anything else. See, his bottom is there. So,
You gotta tell them what he's
no way. If he was a kicker, he'd be dead. Around here.
Our horses, if they kick and buck, they don't,
They have to have.
they don't stay.
So if you're worried about that,
Now look, he's very excited.
normally I do that with 2 weeks. So you're right. So
Hey, you've got the touch.
Stop it!
Could I ask for a volunteer also?
hey, which horse
He does that when I brush.
do you want to crack a whip off him? Or him, all right.
Stop it! If you brush them, he just drops it out. He just relaxes.
Yeah, hey, come over.
Was he happy with it?
Yeah.
He's very happy, hey?
Now, we kind of mucked around a little bit. So,
Yeah.
He's very relaxed by the looks of it.
Oh, he's a character. He just relaxes all the time. He's such a relaxed horse.
I'll never stick it on sweetest like. I'll wake up to that one now.
do you want to get some of those papers, or
Yep.
I haven't set the
Well,
whip,
you haven't. Does
but
that
I can
mean
put
on
it
the
up real
dummy?
quick.
Oh, no,
All right.
I'm not being the dummy.
So Hayden is a pretty handy whip cracker. Hayden can crack it. Stand back there, crack, do some. Hey, come back here. You don't have to gallop around. Just stand still here for a second. Yeah, that'll do. All right, do some of the cracks, you know. Around the head. And very few people, that's not Hayden's favourite whip, crack a right hand on the left hand side. I want you to knot it up. The reason for a whip with cattle is to hit them on the heels to hurry them up and to make a noise, but it's mainly to hurry them along. Like if you crack it properly, so you can make a real mess. I'll carry one for you. How long since you cracked a whip? That's not very nice, is it? Alright, so while Mia brings those over, some of these are really, really old. This here, it's pure kangaroo leather, and what it's for, it's a catching rope. So you imagine how long it took to plait it up. And in Australia, I had a lasso out, but it's disappeared again. So in Australia, we don't throw lassos, although a lot of people do now at rodeos. But the rope, or in this case, is called a bronco rope. And you put it on the pole like that, and you run around, and I won't put it on you. So you just go like that off the horse. That's the Australian way of doing it, all right? Which is
The right way. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
that the right way to do it, the Australian way?
No. It's that no one knows how to do it anymore. And the reason they used to use bronco ropes is the yards, they'd build yards one year, and when they went back to muster the next year, the white ants would have eaten them out. See, now they have all steel yards. That's called a clapper, and stock agents have them, and say, you know, when they knock down the beast, they hit this on a bit of tin or something to make a noise. That was my grandfather's. This whip, I'm not going to explain it really well, but it's called a bullwhip, and maybe I should explain a stock whip. A stock whip gets its name not from cattle as in stock. A stock whip gets its name from English hunting, and the handle is called the stock. So you have the hitch, which holds it on, which is like a universal, and you have the plait or the thonging, which is generally about 5 foot long. You have the fall, which is a piece of leather, and the bit on the end that makes the crack, which is out of hay band, it's called a cracker. And then there's all different whips. Where are they? Now this is called a bull whip. See how it starts fat and hasn't got a handle as such?
Is that the, oh no. Where's my whip?
I didn't bring it.
Oh, wait, what's that?
There's a heavier one here I bought for him. Here. Hey, there's a heavier whip for you. Bring it over and... No, hers is lighter than that. That's mine. And the wood that's in these, that one, is, I really love the wood. It's called Ossa orange. Can anyone ever remember seeing a bush, Ossa orange bush? You would have. They've got a horrible orange fruit on them. It's got warts all over them. And they were brought out, well, where they originate is in America, North America on the plains. And so, see how they've got lots of, that's where the prickles are and knots? They originated in North America, and can you ever remember seeing on TV the wagon trains, how they get in a circle? Well, it used to cut down the Ossa orange and have it all around the wagon train because it had spikes on it, and if the Indians attacked at night and got a spike, they'd get what they call lockjaw, but we call it tetanus. And so that's why they never attacked at night. That was why they did that. Have a crack of it first. All right.
I wish you'd try it on Lane sometime.
Did you see that? You want another one, or you reckon? Whiz it around. Sideways like that is easy. Up and down ones are real hard. Okay. If you have a look at these whips, see how the pattern changes all the way down? See there? It changes all the time. Now, this whip, when you build a whip, you plait a core in it. The core of this whip is a bull's pizzle. And if no one knows what that is, I'm not explaining it. See how it starts really fat and goes down real skinny? And the other reason they call it a bullwhip is in America they called Negro men bulls, and that was the kind of whip that they used on them, which is horrible. This little jockey's whip, so they really sting. Did you get it? No?
Usually doesn't.
A bit higher. That's better than one of you standing out there.
I made it.
This is a jockey's whip, and everyone thinks, and jockeys other than think the same, that they just hit the horse and being cruel whack him. And I've seen jockeys that do that, and the horse comes back with welts as big as that. What they're supposed to do is they have a rubber band around their finger, they hold it like that, then they flick it out like that, so it's like that. And the difference between a champion horse and an average horse is how long a stride they have. So what they're trying to do, they're supposed to do, is when the horse is fully stretched out, they hit it, don't have to hit it hard, to make it stretch out more. See, like Farlap, my favourite horses is Farlap, the Kyogre Diva, Black Caviar and Winx. All the jockeys of those horses could never ever work out how fast the horses were going, because some of them do half a length further than an ordinary horse. So a horse does, say, 21 to 24 foot, well, those ones can do 36 foot. And the jockeys, when they're on them, feels like they're just going ordinary. So they've got no way of knowing that they're going quick. Yeah?
Would anyone like another?
Now, wait a minute, there's another whip here somewhere. Oh. All right, I'll just crack this whip and we'll get a song out of Paul, and then we'll put Muddy into harness, and that'll be enough. Now this is a bullock whip. So, and a bullock whip naturally is to drive a team. If those horses were scared, so they would have gone home. And if any of you were scared, you would have gone home, but you'd probably go home now. So, with a bullock whip, the commands are walk on. With heavy horses, not bullocks, you say trot up. And if you want to go to the left, you say G on. Means to the left because that's the side you get on. If you say G off, that means go to the right. If you want to say back up, naturally it's just back up. And steady is if they start to get into a canter or something like that, you slow them down. And with a bullock team, they would crack this either above their head or at their heels, you know, where the skin's really thick. So, and they'd all be in pairs. But with horse teams, all horse teams in Australia, everyone sees on the movies, they're always in pairs. But in Australia, on Cobb and Co and that, the driving horses, the ones on the pole, or pole horses, there'd be a pair of them, but they would be in threes in front of that, always. So, yeah, I know you don't ever see it, but that's how they used to be. All right, now we'll get a song. Can you pull Muddy's saddle off and bring our little horse and cart in? We're not getting much music. You want some more music?
Living on the road, my friend, gonna keep you free and clean. Now you wear your skin like iron, it gets as hard as kerosene. What your mama's began to cry when you said goodbye. Sank into your dream. Poncho's bandit boy, his horse's fast as always stood. Oh, he's been outside his fence, all the honest blood. Poncho met his mountain home in the desert down in Mexico. Nobody heard his dying words. That's the way it goes. All the federal said could have had him any day. Only let him slip away. Behind his eyes, left him he can't sing the blues all night long like he used to. Just a bunch of moved down south, or under the hill left his mouth. Baby, wait for Poncho Road, left his place for a while, where he got the bread to go. Nobody knew. All the federal said could have had him any day. Only let him slip away. Behind his eyes of gold. Oh, it's how a Poncho fell. Left his living in a cheap hotel. 'Cause it's quiet and clean and slow. And so the story ends with told. Poncho needs your prayers, it's true. Save a few for left it to. Only did what he had to do. Now he's getting old. All the federal said could have had him any day. Only let him slip away. Behind his eyes of gold. Few great federal said could have had him any day. Only let him go so long. I suppose.
Nick the farm and around everywhere. That's when we put him in harness. If you grab, this is naturally called a collar, and this collar is made in England by the Amish. Amish. Some people tell me you're supposed to say it like army, and this part here is the saddle. So every Sunday when you wanted to go to church, this is the stuff you'd have to go through. There was no keys to turn on. Now there should be another girth strap height. Yep. No, just this one for a starter. So
Wayne goes, how long you go around the island?
yeah, there's not much distance you can do. Here's the other. Not really much distance, but so I take him for a drive. I try to go once a week. So
It's been taking that heavy one, I don't, it's too heavy.
no, it's all right. Now these ones here are called the hames. They're what go onto the collar, and they're what do the pulling. Pull that out over here. Thank you. In the old days, say when Cobb and Co was the main way of getting around, say these half draft horses were really in demand as stagecoach horses. So everyone had a thoroughbred, and if it wasn't quick enough, the man would come around with his draft horse, and you would join your mare and to your draft horse, your thoroughbred, and you get what we call a half draft. And they're really, you get the best of both worlds. They're real soft and gentle, and to be able to sell a horse to Cobb and Co was a real prestigious.
Now, Singer's putting his ears down.
Come on. So it was very, very prestigious. I need someone on the other side there to, no, on the top.
Yeah, I got it.
Over his ear.
Yeah, over here.
And
Put his belt under the,
yeah, wait a minute. So these are called winkers. In racing, they call them blinkers. So the winkers really, if you can see,